This is Late Mag, I'm Sun Tzu, and I'm here with Jonathan Loda Gary of Alliance.
Hello.
It's been a rough year.
It has, for sure.
Now, it has to be so tiring to go through all those roster changes to, like, you guys look really bad at times, and they look really good, and then just when you needed to push that a little bit further, it just wasn't there. How have you coped this year, and how are you coping right now?
I mean, it's been very tough, obviously, and I mean, at certain points, it's like, I mean, as you understand, like when you start losing, and then you go up again, and you're like, oh, we're in a good direction, and then something happens, and then we're like straight down again. So I mean, it's been very tough. Something that helps, it's that I have Aki on the team, I guess.
Yeah.
It's nice. I mean, we tend to agree with each other about most of the stuff, and if we don't agree, we still can talk about it, and we vent to each other a bit. Other than that, I mean, sometimes you just have to know that, and I've never gone through as difficult a time as this year, because what I did in, for example, Dota 1 and also Dota 2 is that I would usually just leave. I wouldn't deal with a year that I knew wasn't gonna be good. You know what I mean? Like, so it's been a lot tougher this year to just stick with the team and just keep trying. But I mean, as I said, like, shit happens. I feel like we had a really good start of the year, and if we had the lineup that we started off with, we had a really good balance in the team, and we could have done really well this year. I'm very confident about that. But then stuff happens, and it's like nothing I can control. And the problem was that when the team then started to fall apart, kind of, because one of our players, our solo mid player, injured himself, there are not as many choices anymore because the season has already started, and like, I don't know, you just have to do your best and understand that almost every single professional player, even in a sport as well, they have, I mean, in sports it's even more common because there's the contracts are a lot more like serious, or whatever you want to call it. So there are times when you're stuck in a team that you know you can't really achieve much with. But what I've tried to do is I try to improve as a player. I try to change my play style. What I've done this year is, like, for example, after we played with Pycat, I've tried to, instead of being this farm-heavy carry player, I've tried to be a lot more active. It's worked okay. Sometimes it doesn't work so well, and I think that the problem we have is that we're not so versatile in the way where all of us can adapt as well, where all of us can play farm-heavy and we can play playmaker. So for us, I don't know, man. You just have to fight on and wish for a better future, I guess.
I have to say, it strikes me that you said that previously in your career you would have left, but now, like, I think for a lot of players, you've been around for so long, like, and it has to be somewhere in the back of your mind that this isn't going to last forever. So, like, you have to be thinking, like, I want results. I think a lot of players would be thinking, I want results now. So they'd be more prone to leave now. But, like, what is it that makes you think that, you know, or is it the fact that you've seen so much, you've already done so much? You sort of feel you already have that legacy, so you can sort of...
Well, sure. Sure, I have a legacy, but I think it's more that I felt more loyal to Alliance, and also my teammates. And I don't know, sure, you can be stressed about performing and all this, but, like, what is the age? Honestly, what is the age of esports? You don't know. I had a discussion with Forrest from CSGO, and I asked him about it. We're the same age, and he was like, well, it's bullshit, right? Because if you look at CS, where people thought that you had to quit when you were 24 and that you're losing your reflexes, but he compares himself to, like, NHL goalies, where he says that their reflexes and their reaction time peak between 30 to 32, the goalies, because that's when they're at their best. So it's like he feels like it's just bullshit. For me, I mean, obviously, you always, every now and then, you feel a bit stressed because you're older than the rest and you want to and that has been the toughest part. Honestly, that has been the toughest point. As you said, I feel like I've been wasting my time this year, not only because we haven't had results, but because I haven't played my game. I haven't played Loda's game, or whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? I haven't played these heroes that are my heroes. The game haven't revolved around me, and that's for good and bad, I guess. But it's been very frustrating as a player that kind of knows your identity after so many years in the scene and like so many years as a player, to not be able to play it your way. At the same time, it might be good to lose some because it makes you grow as a person, and you kind of understand that. Yeah, I mean, some of the things that I've done throughout the year hasn't been perfect. I realized that at a point I was very stressed, and the stress really got to me last year, I would say, in the end of last year. But like looking back at it, I was very stupid, because why was I stressed? We did get some results, and it was not the worst results. And we did, like, even after Chelsea was out, we did like get to the tournaments, and we did place. We didn't get last. We did place quite well, but I was still very, very stressed out because we had such a good start of the year, so I expected more, and I felt stressed for like, yeah, you want to perform and you want to play TI, you want to sign up for every tournament. If this would happen again, I would have a completely different approach. And that makes me confident going into the next season, for sure.
Yeah, one of the things that also struck me was you had this point where you were deciding between going for the international roster and going for the Swedish roster. And you tried to go for the Swedish roster at first. Do you think it might have been more beneficial to go for the international roster at that first point? Like, you might have had access to a couple of other players. I know some people who talk to you behind the scenes, but we'll leave that out. But
I think you have a point. I think the problem might be that, yeah, we wanted to keep it Swedish, then it didn't really work out, and maybe we kind of knew in the back of our minds that there's a big chance this won't work out, honestly. Yeah. Like, you have that feeling, but we still rather fight with the Swedish roster. But then when we realized quite early, the reason why we didn't continue with the Swedish roster wasn't because I wasn't happy with playing with Swedes. It was more because people started fighting with each other and couldn't keep working with each other. And after that, we had to start looking for international players. But then, as you say, the options are not the biggest. Yeah. And it's already quite late in the year. So in a way, I feel like it would probably have been smarter to, more than anything, just stick with the lineup. Like, maybe go international right away in the start of the year and then stick with that lineup and just work very, very, very hard. What do you do? You learn from your mistakes, I guess.
Yeah, that's a nice way to end it. And this has been Lead Magazine. If you like what we've been doing here, follow us at www.leadmag.com.
Like what you see? Why not subscribe to the magazine at leapmag.com?